For this build video, I'm going to have to give a shout out for the Dark Prince 74. He donated this ESC, the motor, and servo, a 2075, which does come stock on the Slash. However, I already have a servo that has the same torque, so I get to use that for something else. The ESC I can use, but the Titan 12T motor, it was working when it got here, but it quickly burned out, so I guess I can't be too surprised because that's what they're known for. But in its place, I do have the Photon Speed 2. It is a 20-turn motor, and it's not as fast, but it will get the Slash up and running. But enough talk, let's go ahead and install the ESC. Unlike the Rustler and the Bandit, as well as the Stampede, there is no plate for the ESC to rest on. It just gets screwed directly into the chassis using 2 screws. Now I get to feed the motor cables through the shock tower. Pull that on through. Then the plug goes right underneath there. And now let's install the motor. And this is held into the transmission using 2 screws. Okay, I can't tighten the screws all the way down because I do have to install the pinion gear. And that is held on with a little grub screw. Now that that's been tightened on, I can now adjust the pinion gear so it sits properly against the spur gear. Now that it's been installed, I can now plug in the motor. Black to blue and red to white. Now it's time to install a radio. This is my old Traxxas 27 MHz radio that I originally had for my Rustler XL5, then it made its way to the Bandit, and now to the Slash. So first, I'm going to start off by installing the receiver box. Got some double-sided tape, and go ahead and put this into the waterproof box, just like this. So the servo gets plugged in to channel 1, and the ESC gets plugged in to channel 2. Now this part's going to be a little bit of a pain. The antenna gets fed through there, get it untangled, gets pulled through, and then gets fed through the bottom right here. Now it would have made it a lot easier if I just did this before installing the bottom of the waterproof receiver box to the chassis, but you know what, I can do it. Now I'm just going to pull the antenna all the way through and set this wire into its proper groove. And now there is a plate that holds down all the wires, which is held in place with 2 screws. Okay, now we can move on to the bigger part of the waterproof receiver box. Tuck all this cable in there, get the waterproof seal, which sits in that little groove right there. Make sure that lays flat. And then this is a cover that goes over it. And is held down with only 2 screws. And that, sadly enough, is all that I can do for today.